Like, we're not a marketing company. We're not a coaching company. We're not a financial services company. We're all of that. We're a business solutions firm. You can come to us and we can take about 90% of the weight off of your shoulders and just allow you to do what you're really good at, which is working on your business. Patrick, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
What's new?
Well, the newest thing is these lovely shrubs that I've brought to our production. I thought, I looked around here and I thought, man, we need a little bit more like production value to this. So I've got these two beautiful plastic arborvitae.
A shrubbery.
And I thought it would, add a little bit of color, Which, by the way, I want to ask you, can you see my hat?
Can I see your hat?
Yeah, because I was nervous about it because it's camouflaged, So
Yeah.
when I left the house, I'm like, oh crap, like we might not be able to. Like my head might be cut off, but you can see it all right.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because I was having trouble.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? You ever see the people with the camouflage, where it's like pink, like the pink camouflage, or like the bright orange camouflage?
Yeah, you're not fooling.
Does that kind of like defeat the purpose of it? Like,
yeah.
Where are you gonna hide with that? I don't know. So it's going to be back, man.
Yeah.
And we're working on some new things and, staying the course on some things that we're very good at. We were just talking about video production on websites and how it helps drive people or drive viewers to websites and help boost the rating of websites. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had somebody, regularly you get people that reach out and they say that they're just not getting what they want out of their website. And I know that through the years, as I have had, multiple businesses and been responsible for, multiple businesses as a business development coach, we get pretty dialed in with the data, right? Like, the numbers don't lie. And I've paid tens of thousands of dollars through the years to different companies to help us develop websites and do all of these different things. And everybody's got a different opinion. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what we did was we used data to determine what an ideal website looked like. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be a million bells and whistles, but every website that you want to convert. And so what a conversion is ultimately you want them to take an action on your site. You want them to do something specific.
Right.
If you want them to leave, then set up links on your site that send them to other sites, and you're going to really have some trouble. But ultimately, you want them to spend time on your site. You want them spending time on your site doing what you want them to do. And so user engagement ultimately is a major driver in increasing search rank.
But why is that important? Like, how does that translate to search rank? Like, how does that process work?
What do you mean?
Like, you have somebody engaged, right? How does that translate to a higher search, a higher spot in the search?
So Google obviously watches everything. And so Google isn't about like your being there so that they can help you search for things. Google is there so that they can sell you ads, and they want to sell you ads. They want you to have the best experience possible around selling you ads. Same thing with social media. Social media doesn't care what you ate for dinner last night, or
wait a minute. That's not true. I just posted my scrambled eggs and sausage breakfast this morning.
Oh my gosh.
That's not going to translate into any like.
It looked delicious too.
Okay. Yeah, no.
But ultimately they want to make sure that what you're searching for, you're going to find. They want you to have the most relevant experience on Google in their search algorithm.
Right.
And so ultimately they do that by determining who is the most relevant in search for any given topic in a given area. And one of the main deciding factors for that is user engagement. Are things broken on your site? Does your site work properly? Are there cool things on your site? Can people find what they want? And what we typically find is that a lot of different web developers build sites for them, kind of, right? And what I mean by that is there's a million words on the site, and statistically, people aren't really they're not engaging with the words. And I read some stat recently, and it said something like your site is 57 times more likely to rank in search if you utilize videos as opposed to utilizing text.
Yeah.
57 times, man, that's a powerful piece of data.
Well, just as a very practical, comment here, when I go onto a website, a lot of people put their websites together like it's a yellow pages, like it's all text.
Yeah.
It's It's what they do. Sometimes it's hard to even find out how to contact them. There's no call to action. It's like, here's what we do, and that's all they do. There's no reason for me to engage further in that.
Do you know what words people read on websites? Is words that are captions on a video. That's it. They don't want to read anything else. And so the way that I have proven that to our clients and our businesses, and ultimately have, like, that's what we do, is because we have put different pieces of code throughout our websites to see where people are going, where they're engaging. We've created, websites, multiple clone websites that we'll test. So we'll test about 4 to 5 different websites for a company that we're, involved with at any given time. We've been kind of at this part of it. We used to farm all this out for many, many years to different people, and we just weren't getting the result that we wanted. And so we decided, all right, we're going to hire developers. We're going to hire people to monitor the content and the data and all of this, because at the end of the day, all of this stuff is very data driven. And so when we take these websites and we look at them and we say, okay, well, we've got all 5 of these. Which one performs the best? And why does it perform the best? Right? Where are they going? What actions are they taking? What pages are they not doing anything? Right? How does this, right? We've put, you have to stay above the fold, first of all, right? And so you get these people back to your website, and you want to hook them right away. So how do you hook them? You have to build trust. And so you can build trust with text, and we can continuously tell people how great we are. And we already know that people aren't looking at that stuff anyways. We can have a video of us selling our service and ourself and our people, right? Explaining all of that good stuff. We can have a widget that explains reviews and shows, that builds trust, from a trusted place. And you can do all of these really cool things. But at the end of the day, how do you put them? Where do you put them? Can you do it consistently? And ultimately, can you afford video production that looks high end? And so we have a plan here at Lotus where all of our websites all have videos on all of our landing pages, because one, it helps us absolutely dominate in search. And the other thing that we do, we pair that with our SEO program. And so our SEO program is constantly using the data that it's constantly using data to continuously and constantly re-optimize our sites from the back end, right? So like on the surface, our sites are, they're basic, right? It doesn't look like they're homemade or anything, but they're just basic. People don't need a ton of bells and whistles, and they don't engage with the ones with bells and whistles. This is who we are. This is what we do. Pick one of these options. Here's the call to action. Yeah, take the action. Take the action. We want you to schedule a call. Like we're not trying to sell you anything on the website. What we're trying to do is show you that, hey, we're capable of this. Now get us on the phone. And that seems to be what works best, and doing that in conjunction with video and using all of this data and a very like basic call to action type website seems to work really, really well for us. And so that's what we utilize.
Yeah, that kind of gets back to the point that I was making before, where you're on a website and it's just so jumbled up, you don't even know where to look. I've seen some of the stuff, and I'm not kissing your ass here, by the way, but I've seen our websites, and they're very simple. Learn more, click, and there will be a video where you can learn more.
Yeah. You look at companies like Apple, right? And so when they started using their operating system, people were like, "No, this is crazy.
It'll never work.
It'll never work." And so I don't know what the stat is, but I mean, everybody, well, probably except for you, has an iPhone.
Do you think these trees are helping today's podcast with our viewership?
Think so. I think these trees look really, really nice. They're very professional. We don't have to water them, and I appreciate you setting these things up today. It gives it a little bit of class.
Yeah, I'm very thoughtful, and I think next time on the podcast we've got to have a like button for the tree, like the tree like button, like a like button, but then the tree like button.
Yeah.
Is that probably no?
No, it'll work.
No, we're not doing that. So the bottom line is we were just looking at some videos and how simply they were done, and they weren't long, but they were engaging and they were to the point. I've seen some videos that go on like 5 to 7 minutes on a website. And
it's like, too much. No.
Let's get to the meat.
I think the thing that we typically find when we start working with with different businesses. We get these businesses, and ultimately what we do is we go in with our plan. And we say, look, here's the data. This plan has worked for this industry in this market or in the next market or whatever. Like, here is data to show you that what you're doing, there's opportunity, and here's what we do, and it's not easy, and it's incredibly time consuming. And in general, if you were to go out and you were to pay to get what we do, like, so a few years ago, I went and I got some testimonial videos from a local videographer, right? I wanted like a whole slew of testimonial videos from customers to put on our website, and I wanted them edited, and ultimately, it was not going to be a crazy amount of money. At the end of the day, I got 4 videos for one, so 4 1-minute videos that, I have an opinion about the quality of them, and I just don't. I think that there could have been better, but I paid $6,000 for 4 1-minute videos. Like, that is a violent cost. And when I went and asked the videographer, like, hey, look, we've got a big need for these. We want to do a lot more. I was told that if I couldn't afford it, I shouldn't have asked for the service. Like, at that point, I was like, there's a better way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not paying this kind of money and having somebody treat me like that. It's absolutely insane. And so what we did was we went out and we found the best photographers and videographers that we could find, and we partnered with them so that they would help us duplicate the look that we want, right? So we know that video is engaging, and we know that we're going to get more people back to our site by using video. The stats are there. The stats don't lie. We've tested it on different sites, some with video, some with photos, some with only text, some with a combination of both, and people are just engaging only with the video and then the call to action. And it converts, I think national average, again, another survey that I read was something like 80% more conversions on site when you get them back to your site, meaning that you get them to take the action that you want 80% more times if you have video. And, our stats were very similar.
And part of that too is, when you get someone to invest their time, that's what car dealers do, right? Someone shows up on the lot. You want to keep them on the lot as long as you can because your odds of selling that car are going to go up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really it's not that scientific. It just is what it is. People, when they vest their time into something, they feel vested in it.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
pretty basic, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't do it.
It's true. You're 100% right. And so I think that's the thing, right? You can show somebody the value all day long, but the reality is that when we go in and we purchase one of these companies, they have so many things that they have to do, all kind of relatively within the first 90 days is like when it's the most work for somebody when we begin to partner with them or purchase the company. And we try to make that as easy as possible, right? How do we get this result? Right? How do we get the result that we created this diamond over here, and how do we duplicate this over and over and over? And so systems, right? Any business, an auto repair shop is a factory. A plumbing company is kind of the same thing, right? Like an electrical contracting company, it's the same thing. Like, we have a product and we have to find a systematic way to continuously duplicate that. And everything within the business should also be a system, right? How do we hire people? How do we attract them to us to come work with us, right? How do we onboard them? How do we train them? And how do we continuously duplicate the result over and over? And so we take that approach with everything. We don't take that, like, we're not a marketing company. We're not a coaching company. We're not a financial services company. We're all of that. We're a business solutions firm. You can come to us and we can take about 90% of the weight off of your shoulders and just allow you to do what you're really good at, which is working on your business, right? Refining your product, making sure that your product is exactly what it should be. And so web design, all of this stuff that we're talking about is just one component of that.
Well, that's kind of been the thrust of everything that we've talked about throughout all of our podcasts and any of our reels that are online right now, is we're trying to set it up so that the people who own the business can own the business.
Yeah.
And that's all they have to worry about doing.
So I think that's where we that is our specialty, right? Like at Lotus, that is our specialty. So and so I keep saying specialty, but like what it is we take people that own jobs and we turn them into business owners.
Right.
And we have a proven system that we have used and we are continuously refining. When we talk about like websites, right? If you want to know how much we're constantly refining our product, if you looked at our websites a week ago, they're diametrically, I mean, they're totally different now than they were a week ago.
Oh,
And if you looked at them a week ago and you looked at a month prior, they were totally different then. And so the reason being is that we're constantly testing which ones that work,
no.
and so while we're testing one, we're developing another using that data from the last one. Like it's, somebody could listen to this and probably say I'm some kind of a nerd, but if at the end of the day,
I would.
that's what
Yeah, I know you. I would say it out loud.
yeah,
So,
and so that's what we've done through the years. We have taken data through all aspects of a business, all aspects of the business. We use all of the data to continuously say, okay, well, here's a problem and here's an opportunity, and how do we create a system around this? And that's ultimately what we do for business. We are a business solutions firm.
so one of the things that I want to talk about, because you brought up a couple things that I think we need to address a little more, maybe in the next podcast. You talk about systems. I want to get specifically into what that means, because we've covered a lot right here. And you also talk about the first 3 to 6 months for businesses. And we've got some good examples, even here locally and some nationally, that we can touch on and kind of talk about what someone can expect as someone who partners with us in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, a year from now. What are the stages of that? Is that something we can get into?
Yeah, so and I would love to get into that. And so who's coming in on Monday is Nick Riccatelli. So Nick is the best detailer I've ever seen. He's absolutely incredible, and he just he came to us for a little bit of help, and and as we did, he's just now into like just out of his first 90 days.
Yeah.
And like the first month, he was like, "Oh my gosh, what is
Right.
what is going on?" I was talking to him this morning. He was like, "The stuff that you guys put in place is incredible. Like we have created a system around just even like the coaching component of it and the marketing component, and so like it's." We used to, when the first time I bought a company, it took weeks of work of like really, really, really scrambling around trying to, define and refine and how do we get docs and all of this different stuff. I can essentially purchase and onboard a company over lunch, and I can do it all from my phone now, and so that's what we're trying to do, right?
Huh.
We're trying to make sure that what we can do, we can scale it, and what we're doing is something that is incredibly challenging. Starting a business or turning a business around is one of the hardest possible things that you can do in business. But we have found a system to ultimately find, acquire, onboard, build, and scale all kind of systematically. Like if you do these things, this is the average result that you're going to get, But with that,
I want to get into that specifically on the next podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does that mean?
yeah,
I mean, it's easy for us to sit here and say, we can build your business in 3 to 6 months. However, it also takes someone's willingness,
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
And that's another part of it that I want to talk about as well.
Patrick, it's always a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
I'm bringing in some more props for the next one.
I love these.
They're beautiful, right? Come on.